Right, so afternoon, everyone, in it's a very rainy, wet Cape Town. And yeah, we are not a big group, but we are recording for those who will want to watch afterwards. So today we're talking to one of our MPO partners, Vintage with Love, which is headed up in Cape Town by Debbie. Debbie and I go back a very, very long time. We lived next door to each other growing up, and Debbie was my bridesmaid. So yeah, it has been a relationship that is long, and I love the work that you do and your team. And I know you've been involved almost since the beginning, but I'm going to leave that over to you. And just for those who may not know about 50 Plus, we're a membership community of people learning, serving, and earning. So we have a number of MPOs that we work with, but also for individuals to reinvent themselves to work for longer, learn new skills, tech skills. We are a membership community. People pay 500 Rand a year. We do 2 or 3 events like this a month and 2 newsletters. So we keep everybody up to date, and we have members all over the country. So Debbie, I'm going to hand over to you so you can kind of give us the background to Vintage with Love and how you got involved firstly.
Okay, cool. Thank you, first of all, Linda, for giving Vintage this opportunity. We really do appreciate that. In 2013, a fellow, a very good friend of mine and fellow student at JCE, realized that women in her circle of friends, in any case, had so many clothes that they kind of held onto and didn't wear all the time. And she decided that she wanted to start a charity supporting literacy charities and education charities in South Africa by reselling gently worn clothing. In those days, we were probably one of the first to do it on quite a large scale. So she decided her name's Lee Ord, and she partnered with Jackie Marburg Kamali, who was a journalist at the time, or is a journalist. And they said they'll have their first sale in Lee's garage. So they put the word out for people to empty their cupboards and donate the clothes, and they hired about, I think, 5 rails, and it was going to be this little thing. The next minute, Gracia magazine got hold of it back in the day. And in the end, they had to find a venue, which was at the Bryanston Dimension Data campus. That was the first sale. I think there were about 70 rails on the floor. It was an incredibly beautiful experience. They did the whole place out like Harrods, actually. And that's the whole objective of the big sales, is to make it look beautiful, even though you're buying secondhand clothing. So that was the first sale in 2013, and at that sale we raised about just over 600,000 Rand. Then they tried to do it again in 2014, raised about the same, but found that it wasn't enough time for people to replenish their cupboards, so they couldn't collect as much stuff as they did in 2013. So then Lee said to me, and I went to help them on both the sales, why don't you do it in Cape Town? So I said, okie dokie. So we were lucky. We were given a venue at the 15 on Orange Hotel. And we had our first sale there, which was an incredible success. We also raised about 800, I think, more than Joburg. And then we decided 1 year Cape Town would do it, 1 year Joburg, which we've been doing now. So Cape Town is having their 6th big sale from the 1st to the 4th of August at the cruise terminal arrivals hall, Cape Town Cruise Terminal. Also the space, you can imagine, is quite industrial. And then we turn it into this really trendy, beautiful shopping environment. And we trade for 4 days. So that's coming up now. In all, the charity has raised close to 9 million Rand. So our charities are very well looked after. They're all literacy based, and primary mainly because we believe that children need to be able to get a good grounding when it comes to literacy before they start school. And a lot of our children, obviously, you all know, don't get that opportunity. So that's basically Vintage with Love. When COVID hit, of course, we had no way of selling our stock. So my nieces were here in Cape Town. They were supposed to study in Germany and they couldn't go. So they set up sales on Instagram, really to see if it would work and to keep them busy during COVID. And it took off. We just had the most incredible success with online. So now our online platform is taken off Instagram. It's now on a proper website and it's doing very, very well. We try and sell sort of our A-grade stock online, and we've never looked back doing that. Then last year, this time, we had a little sort of storeroom workshop in Harrington Street building, and they gave us notice. So we had to find somewhere else, and we found this fantastic venue in Canterbury Street in Woodstock. I mean, not Woodstock, in District 6. And we've opened our first shop. So our first shop has been going for a year and a bit, and it's held its own. And yeah, we're doing okay. None of us knew anything about retail, but it just shows you that at any age you can try something new and get to know it. And just on the shop side, 2 weeks ago, we opened a new shop in Joburg. And that shop is at the bottom of Caller Drive Road, 102 Caller Drive Road. Also in a bit of a dodgy area at the moment, but it's transforming. So we've got in there just in time. We've got a really good rental. And together at that shop with doing, most of our online sales stock is in that shop. So if you wanted to have a look at something online, you could go into the shop and try it on. We've been lucky enough, the shop comes with an upstairs section and we're going to start selling secondhand furniture. So that's in the process of being established. So the idea is that if people are doing high-end market or redoing their dining room or their lounge, and they get very little for secondhand furniture, and they don't really want to sell it, they're all happy to give it away. They give it to Vintage with Love, and we resell it at an open house once a month or whatever. So it gives people the opportunity of buying really nice furniture who can't afford lovely furniture for very little. And so we are starting. And once I find a storage facility in Cape Town, we'll start here as well, because I think that's got a lot of miles. We have a lot of opposition now in secondhand clothes sales because it's just become, which is a brilliant thing. It's become a huge trendy thing. So getting back to the big sale before I forget, if people are in Cape Town, please come and support us from the 1st to the 4th of August. We also look for volunteers over that time. So if you feel that you've got a couple of hours to spare over that weekend, come and help us. It's amazing. Everyone who works there are volunteers. And the whole of Vintage actually is run by volunteers. We can't operate without them. So in Cape Town, we have our volunteers coming in on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and they sort through all our donations, they price them, we log them onto a POS system, we decide what gets donated to other charities if we can't sell it. Without our volunteers, we can't operate. So in Cape Town, we've got about a base of 50 volunteers that I can call on at any time, but we've got a core group of which Jeanette and Lou, who are going to be chatting later, are an integral part and a very committed volunteer. Both of them are very committed volunteers. So the charity is growing and growing, and our charities are just so happy because over the last 11 years, we've been able to support them continuously. So they're able to budget properly because they know that we'll commit to funding them each year. So on our website, which happily go and look at, all our information is on there, www.vintagewithlove.co.za. It has a list of all our charities, and take a look. We've really, I think, can be proud of ourselves, because a lot of them have grown with us, and a lot of children have grown with us through the system, and that's the most exciting part. A lot of them have managed to go to university, qualified, and the lovely thing is a lot come back to give back to Vintage with Love, which is a fantastic story. So, and that's what I have Leanne here waiting to have her little say. Leanne volunteers at a charity called Good Hope Literacy, and it's the most incredible program where volunteers come in and help children who find difficulty with reading. So Leanne, I'm going to hand over to you, and you tell us about what Vintage has done for your charity.
Thanks, Debbie. Oh, Vintage has been an incredible help with our charity, because with the money they give us, we can budget, and we can know that this year and into the next year, we can provide the stationery and books and pencils and equipment we need for the center, as well as buying reading books that we read, the volunteers read to them, as well as books that we allow the kids to take home. We have this little lending library, and there's always some casualties with those, and books get worn and old, and we can replenish them. So we started off basically with donations and sometimes inappropriate books about reindeers or post offices and things like that, that we can pass on and repurchase much more relevant books pertaining to the age group and stage and excitement for the kids. So that funding has been amazing, and the interest that Vintage, Debbie herself and staff show in our organization is just wonderful, and it just feeds all our souls. It's also very, very all volunteer based, and it's wonderful to see those volunteers, people mostly mature, who've perhaps given up big jobs, who have time and skills, many really experienced teachers. So what a gift to have them in a center of literacy. A lot of the kids are actually remedial type children, and we can just focus. And with the material we can purchase, games we can purchase to complement the program we use. It's just a win-win. And the interest that Vintage show in our organization, it's got such longevity. You know, it's not just a one-off. We are just so excited about the future and have this little bit of stability and the income to support it. So I
Tell them about our wonderful fundraiser.
Oh yeah, our first time when we lost the funding, we used to fall under another umbrella called Shine, and they over COVID lost the funding and they had to close the centers. And this little group in Good Hope Seminary Junior School said, no, we're not closing. And we all looked at each other and said, well, how are we going to function? We need some money. And so Debbie and I collaborated, and because she and I love our bodyboarding, we decided to do a bodyboarding competition, and people had to pay to enter, and they must bring their nearly nicely, gently worn clothes as a donation. And we had this ridiculously fun bodyboarding competition, about 60 women, mostly over 50, but we weren't too strict about that. And we raised money, and Debbie got clothes that she could sell at Vintage and turn into cash. And that was really the launch and gave us the courage to start this NGO, and we know we supported into the future. So that's fun, and that's an annual event. We've had our second one, and it's just really great fun.
I love the Vintage 500. It just, even though I've not been there, I've watched it every year, and it looks fabulous.
It's fantastic.
Well done.
We had this last year. This year we had 9 teams of 10. Leanne, I think.
Yes.
And some of the teams come along and they're dressed up in the most ridiculous outfits, and everyone has a 10-minute heat. And their prizes for the best wave caught, their prizes for the best dumped person, all stupid things like that. And it's amazing. We've got a fantastic sponsor now, Key West, Key Side, Key something.
Key One.
Key One. has
Yes.
come on board as a sponsor for that event. So it's great for Good Hope Literacy. And we'll hopefully continue.
I'm reminded that you said 50Plus-Skills should enter a team this year. So you need to make
Correct. I put the challenge out.
I'll
Yes.
try and get something going with some of our members that come to our events in Cape Town.
Yeah.
Come on, Linda, do it next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Michelle?
Right, Jane.
How about a team from Belito? Fly down.
You're on mute, Michelle. You're on mute.
Sorry, I think that you would find lots of ladies in Belito who would be prepared, for sure.
Yeah, let's do that. Have a weekend
I'll keep
away.
you posted.
Okay,
Right,
brilliant.
good.
So that's one of our charities that we feel very strongly about, that Leanne is involved with. We also have a fantastic, another one, I'll give you an example, who it's called Rio Lema. And Rio Lema identify children in grade 8 who show interest in being teachers. And if they're keen, then they mentor these children from grade 8 up to matric to make sure that they pass with a really good matric. And then they twin with usually a private school. And after matric, the student is put straight into the classroom with a teacher and they study part-time. So after 4 years, those children are excellent teachers. And 9 times out of 10, the school offers them a post. It's the most incredible charity. So we also look after them quite heavily as well. Now I'm going to introduce you to my 2 volunteers, and they're going to tell you what Vintage has done for them by being a volunteer and joining us on a weekly basis. So Lou, you can go first.
Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity of being able to chat. You know, I put a lot on hold when I was working. I ran a business for over 30 years, and there were always things that I wanted to do, the extra things, and one of them was to be involved with charity work. And I sold my business in 2020, COVID hit, and so things didn't really happen, and then I moved to Cape Town. In fact, my first encounter with Vintage was in 2019, when one of the volunteers that I knew very well, very close friend, saw all my late mother's beautiful ball gowns and cocktail wear and stuff. She said, "Oh, that is what," I said, "No, I'm going to give them to Johannesburg," because I was living in Johannesburg. She said, "Absolutely not." She made sure there was a courier to come and fetch everything, and she got it, and I was invited to, and I actually flew down especially to see my mother's beautiful clothes being bought by these gorgeous young women. And it was just such a fabulous event. And I thought, well, I'd love to be part of that. So when I moved here 2 years ago, I kind of put my little toe in, and I used to attend events, and I helped actually at the last big sale. That was 2 years ago. I wasn't a volunteer at that stage, but I helped. And I wasn't prepared to commit time at that stage because I thought, well, let me just see. Well, I got hooked. And now I'm an everyday volunteer. My friend Jeanette bosses me around. And when I think I have just finished a box of clothes passing, she puts another box of clothes in front of me and so I can't go. But, it's the whole concept is so special. The fact that there's such a thing that everyone talks about, this donor fatigue. The fact that we are getting clothes to sell, that we're not asking for money all the time, that most charities are always having big fundraising drives. I get involved in those too, but this is such a fantastic, fantastic concept. And people are so happy. They say, oh, yes. And everybody, people hang on to stuff, and you just point them in the direction, and they think they can't part with this because it's too special. And if you tell them where it's going to go and how they can donate it, people are so enthusiastic about it. And I think, again, literacy and education is something very close to my heart. So the fact that we're supporting that also makes a big difference. So in choosing a charity, And I remember one of the other girls saying that she had worked for other charities, but this was the right home. And for me, it is the right home. And I love the people. Everybody is different. And it's just such, I mean, I smile just thinking about going there. There's no pressure. I might be away for a month. Or you might just, sometimes I pitch up late because I can't get there at 10 o'clock. So what? It's fantastic. And I get told good evening. But, you know, to me, it's something very fulfilling. And for a person who, also the other thing is when you've worked so much, you don't know what to do with your time. But you don't actually want to have that pressure again of having to, well, I didn't want to start another thing or have to work or have the pressure of staff or anything like that. Now I am a soldier. I'm an Indian. I don't want to be the chief. I've been a boss and told everybody what to do all my life. Now I just say, okay, fine, give me a job. So it is very, very special. So from my first experience until now, I love vintage, and it's something that I'm just so happy to be part of.
It's wonderful, Lou. Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you, Lou. That's great. And we love having you. We really do.
Jeanette.
I've
My
also known
story's a
Jeanette
little-
since she was a baby.
Yes. So my story is a little bit similar to Lou's. The difference is that Debbie's mom and my mom were really, really close friends. And so we saw a lot of each other growing up, and then we lost touch. But I always knew Debbie, I lived in KZ, and I always knew Debbie was involved in vintage, not really knowing much about vintage, but every now and then a message would come through, time for you to come to Cape Town and be part of vintage, time for you to come to Cape Town and be part of vintage. So when we actually moved, I had moved to open a zero waste shop with my daughter, who up and went to Amsterdam. So there was a bit of a hole because it wasn't my passion, it was her passion. So I said to my husband, I need to get hold of Debs and find out more about this vintage story. In the meantime, we'd got involved in our church and they put me in the kitchen. And if you know me well enough, I don't cook, I don't bake, I don't really enjoy it, but I'm in the kitchen. So eventually I thought, you know what, I'm going to give Debbie a ring and go through. And honestly, from the first day, it's been an absolute blessing. It's such a wonderful bunch of ladies. As Lou said, you come and go. There's no ties. There's no time limits. It's just a privilege being part of a group of ladies that are really, really passionate about making a difference. And hats off to Debs, because it's not a Mickey Mouse organization. It is huge. She does the most. We all stand in awe when there's a function on, because what she's got to organize and put together, it's big. And I just think she's created a family. We're all there because of Debbie. I was chatting to the girls the other day, and her personality has spread through the ladies. And we've got an incredible team that, I know Lou says I'm bossy, and yeah, maybe I am. I also used to own my own business. But you can say to them, Lou, you're not going home now, you need to do another box, in a joking manner. And we just have the most incredible amount of fun. And we're making a difference. And yeah, we do work hard. We do a lot of the same jobs over. It's not easy because we're all volunteers trying to please everyone. But it's an incredible, it's just nice it's a privilege actually being part of a group that are making a difference. And I had coffee with a friend today who's also in Durbanville, and she's driving through. She's going to Dublin in a couple of weeks to meet her grandchild, and she's going to jump in the car tomorrow or the next day and drive through and buy her jeans from Vintage. She refuses to go to the shops. So it's nice to hear that people are becoming more and more concerned and aware of the environment and what we need to really shop from secondhand clothing and not rush out and buy new clothes. So it's wonderful. I've met incredible ladies, and my husband actually wanted to know, I do a lot of washing and mending for Vintage. And he, the one day, said, I think you should open a laundromat. Because that is a big part of it. You can't believe how clothes arrive rather dirty. So there's also mending and washing to be done. But all in all, it's an absolute privilege, and it's lots and lots of fun. We all of us, I think, love it. And I think that's what is important, because it's volunteering. You're not getting paid for it. You go out of the love and the joy and being with the ladies and what we're actually achieving at the end of the day. But hats off to Debs, because she's the kingpin.
No.
Oh, thank you. I can't
Thanks,
do it
Jeanette.
without our team that we have. We've got the most incredible volunteers. And just getting back to that point that Jeanette made about women becoming, or women and men actually, we have a huge need for men's clothes, by the way. Pass the word on. People are very aware now, and how often people buy an outfit from Vintage and they'll go out and somebody will say, oh my gosh, that's so stunning. Where did you get it? Vintage? So we get so many beautiful items that have been well cared for by their previous owners. And then we also get outfits that come back. There's a lovely story by one of our volunteers who probably about 7 years or 8 years ago, donated a skirt. And we were unpacking last year in the storeroom. And the next minute she unpacked out of this bag and she said, oh, I love this skirt. Then she looked at it again and she said, but this is my skirt. So she promptly bought it back. So it's went for a whole thing. I think if outfits could tell a story about where they've been and what they do. So we encourage people to clear out their closets for Mandela Day this year. That's what we are putting out a campaign for. I always get the 67 minutes. Clear out your closets. The jacket that's been hanging there for 5 years because you keep looking at it and think, oh, you know what, one day I'm going to fit into it again. You're never going to fit into it again. Rather give it to us. We're going to sell it for a couple of R100 and we're going to keep a child in a reading program for a couple of months with that money. So the power of us being able to sell your gently worn clothes is huge. And we have drop-off shops throughout Cape Town, where if you're in an area, you can just go and drop your donation off at a drop-off shop. Muller's in all the Muller's branches in Cape Town, Muller's Optometrist is one. Therapy Rough Tongue, one is in Kenilworth, the other one is in Stellenbosch. Then we have Habits in Claremont, Desiree stores throughout the country, and Calypso store also throughout the country. So Orms as well is a drop-off shop. If you're ever in District 6, you can drop it off at the photo shop. And in Joburg we have the shop in Corlett Drive, and Glenda's, which is a very well-known coffee shop in Joburg. That's a drop-off shop. And in Durban we've got the Food Fundi Sugar Rush in Belito. So there are places all over the country where you can drop off. And also, I forgot to mention that another way that we collect clothes, because that's basically what my brief is, I have to collect clothes. So in order to do that, we have these lunches, which sounds very, but women love going to lunch. And we have a lunch in the bigger areas once a year. So we just had our Waterford lunch, which was outstanding. And then coming up is our Plettenberg Bay lunch. And groups of women in the area, they organize the whole thing. We raise money for a charity that they choose in the area. And then we get clothes. We just need clothes. And we're having that's in Plettenberg Bay, if you know anybody, and that sale is on September the 18th. And then we're having one in Knysna on the 8th of November as well. So if anybody's keen, just get hold of Linda and I'll send her the information. So we look for all clever ways to raise money. So we have surfing competitions, we have open house at the shop where we have musicians. We'll do anything to take the clothes off your back. So
and there's always wine. There's always wine.
Oh, there's always wine.
Always, yeah.
Always alcohol-free wine too. So we just it's always an occasion. But through those occasions, we are able to empower our charities. So if you feel like you want to come on board, let us know. If you feel like hosting a little, it's your birthday, for example, have a birthday tea or something at home, ask everyone to bring a donation of clothing. We do that a lot, and that's another way we get our clothes.
Debbie, do you want to just chat a little bit about the overrun of clothes that you feel you don't sell, but then you pass it on to
yeah,
like Noah or other
So,
charity?
yes, so you never have to worry about what you've got to donate. Never. We take everything. What we can't sell in the shop, in our area in Cape Town, we give to around the corner, we've got a very big police station, and we give to Rape Crisis. They've got an office there. They just, it's in such big demand. We even give them underwear, because people think that's gross. But we laundered underwear they're desperate for, because when a woman is taken into the police station, she has to hand in all her clothes and underwear for DNA. So we actually battle to keep up with donations for them. They can't. And then we have other Red Cross we give to quite a lot. We give to squatter camps where some of our volunteers are involved with. So we never ever have a glut of clothing. There's a home for everything. So it doesn't have to be A-grade clothing at all. It can be anything you just got in your cupboard. Holy men's underpants, no.
Dirty underpants, no.
And we get them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to make a comment from about the volunteer side is, you know, socialization in this season of life, and for both Jeanette and Lou who have moved, I'm sure that the volunteering has opened up a new group of people that are similar to you in value, that you now have created friendships going forward. And, you know,
Absolutely.
that for me is one of the other fabulous parts about Vintage with Love, is because it's causing, you created an holistic process for those volunteers too, to benefit, you know, not just from the fun, but the socialization and engagement is such an important part in our season of life.
100%.
Absolutely.
No. Any questions from, we don't have too many people on the call, but I'd love a question or two, because I think that would be great for others when they're watching the video.
Debbie, you also still support Chic Mamas, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We do support Chic Mamas. That's an organization, for those of you who don't know them, in Cape Town, who do basically exactly the same as we do, but on a much smaller scale. But they have a fantastic project in a very, very impoverished area in Vrygrond in Cape Town. And they fund a little organization where children are taken to learn art and to work through art, to work through their trauma. You would be shocked when you see how many children they service. It's mind-blowing. It's a very, very it's a gang area, so these children are brought up with trauma that is indescribable, and through art they really heal, and they're able to start grade 1 sort of on a better footing than just going straight into the classroom in grade 1. It's a brilliant project. So Chic Mamas, they run that, and we support them.
It's great. Jane.
Linda, if I may just add to your point about moving from Johannesburg to Cape Town, it was incredibly fulfilling to be able to join something like Vintage, because it's not, I do have cousins and family and so on here, but it was just, you know, what to do, what other things to do. And it was just such a wonderfully fulfilling outlet for me, you don't want to sit in your home all the time, or you don't want to go and perpetually be having coffees or hiking. It was just, you want to do something which is meaningful as well.
Meaningful.
With people, as you say, like-minded. And everybody was very welcoming. I was told, you know, Cape Town's not an easy place to make friends. Well, no, I don't agree with that, because everybody I have met, and particularly with this group of women, have been incredibly welcoming and friendly and supportive in every way. So yes, it is Debbie, you have created another aspect in terms of that as well.
Mhm.
So,
Good. Mhm.
Jane.
Do you, by any chance, sort of loan out matric dresses? You know, I'm just thinking there's such a need, especially in
Yeah.
impoverished areas, for the girls and the guys.
There
to-
is an organization that we support called Cinderella, the Cinderella. Oh, can you remember, Leanne? I can't remember. The Cinderella Foundation. They do that. So just because of manpower and because we rely on volunteers, we have decided to rather support an organization that's already up and running. So any evening dresses that we get a lot that we don't sell after the big sale. It all goes to them, and it's a brilliant organization. That's exactly what they do. They lend them out and then they use them over and over again. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Well, well done on what you're doing. I'm
you,
really
Jane.
impressed, and
Thank you.
yeah, big
And
shout to
I did
everyone.
forget to mention that we've added another side to the, it's a business now, we'll call it a business, the charity. You can, if you've got really good quality clothing, and I'm talking about excellent quality, good label, branding, fabric, etc., you can bring it into the shop, and my colleague Ange, she runs that side of things, we'll buy it from you. So we pay you cash. Other shops give you a consignment period of 3 months and you get 50-50. And often we've tried it. It takes a lot of manpower, and often the item, especially in our environment, gets lost because there's so many volunteers and they don't know what's anyway. So if you want money for your clothes, and a lot of people want money for their good clothing now, we'll pay cash for it.
Debbie, I've just remembered something else. Can I mention the
Yes.
crossover between Good Hope Literacy and Vintage? One day, news got out in the little center at Good Hope School that a child's house had burnt down the day before, and the mum and herself had the clothes they were in. And I just like, we've got to help, we've got to do something. And you guided me, said, just go to the outlet and grab some clothes. And it was just that they do have a box where they maybe aren't appropriate. Children's clothes don't turn over as quickly, or maybe a slight mark on something. And I just dug in, went back to school with 2 huge bags for the child and the mother, winter puffer jackets. And you know, the joy of being able to just help a family like that, which you encourage in all different. I know Debbie does more than just what we're talking about. It's the guy on the street who's unemployed. The next thing we giving him a birthday party and he's got clothes on his back. She does so much. It's unbelievable. So you all know that, hey, Jeanette?
Yeah.
Debbie does. Yeah. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful platform of love and giving. And it gives us all so much joy, really.
Yeah. Thank
Michelle,
you so
any
much.
questions?
I think I would be quite interested to hear I know how you advertise to sell your product, but how do you draw people in to donate product to you? Because I think that for me is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And there are so many people, specifically in the Ballito area, that I'm sure have got cupboards that are bulging with products that you would love to have.
Absolutely. So Ballito is our next, we've got our eye on Ballito, put it that way. And next year, our CEO, Tracy, who works from the Joburg shop, she is going to put together a big collection lunch in Ballito. So we're going to do a lunch there. It's a great way of getting people to get rid of their clothes. So as I said earlier, the lunches, we collect tons of clothes through that kind of thing. I'll also piggyback on events. So for example, Michelle, if you know of another big event happening in Ballito or Durban or wherever, and all we need is to partner with you and the event take us on as their charity for the day. And even if you're collecting money for another charity, that's also okay. And then you ask, like golf days, you ask people to bring a bag of clothes at a golf day, or if you've got another school function, and you want to add on a charity, just ask them for a couple of pieces of clothing. And then also corporates are always looking for something where they can jot down BEE points. So doing a collection for us for vintage, we have all the paperwork, etc., to give back to them. So I look for, as I said, any way possible. So tagging onto other events is very successful for us. So we have a group here called Pop the Shop, which is run by Pierre Easterbrook, and they have these pop-up events where they have a whole lot of vendors coming in and selling, and we always piggyback with her. So we're there basically to market vintage and collect clothes from people who remember to bring clothes. But that's the kind of thing that we do.
Okay. And how do you get that out into the market to tell people to bring their clothes? I think that for me is the most important thing.
It's a very difficult thing.
Yeah, it's not easy.
I find it very difficult. It's a challenge for us because a lot of people are no longer on social media. People don't read magazines anymore. We do have a good relationship with a couple of radio stations. We use that. But I just, I try and find associations. Like here, we were members of a Delsil club, and I invest in that because I know once a month at a meeting we're going to get a couple of bags of clothes.
Can I add to that idea for Michelle? I just find, because I love to support Debbie by getting close to vintage, I just do by word of mouth. If I hear a friend saying, oh, I'm having a clean out, I say, right. Or if I hear their children are leaving home, or they're sick of their kids' boxes, or if I hear someone moving, I say, listen, if a mother has passed away or something, I just say, if you've got anything, let me know and I'll come and get it and pick it up. And that people, when they're clearing out, want their stuff out quickly. And the moment they say, I've got bags, I just run, or I tell Debbie, and they just want it gone. They actually don't really care where, how, just take it out away. And word of mouth. And then you could dump it at the, what's it called, the Sugar Rush place. I found, hey Debbie, I've generated quite a lot of clothes from just that, keeping your ears up.
Leanne is incredible with her clothing donation. Everyone knows now. I think over the years it's got so embedded, when they do want to give away clothes, they just give it to Leanne. So I have a lot of volunteers who don't come in every day, to the shop and work. They do what Leanne does and just spread the word. And we also use a couple of wardrobe, what do they call them? Stylists. And the stylists, they punt us a lot. And when they go and sort out somebody's wardrobe, then they encourage them to give their clothes to us, or they bring them in to sell as well. So
what about book clubs?
Book
club dinners.
Book clubs.
They must be quite big in Ballito.
I wish there was an index of book clubs. But we put stuff on Facebook and or anywhere. I have collection events at shops, in centers.
Do you have someone? Do you have the name of the person that leads in Ballito for you? I know that you've got Food Fundi as the collection point, but is there
Sue? Her name's Sue, I think. But we haven't got anybody yet. Michelle, are you up for it?
I'm still running a business at the moment, and I'm trying.
That's okay. So am I.
Back from that, but I'm very keen to help, because I think that it's a good cause, and I would definitely be able to help. We've got churches down here. We've got huge. So people might not be on social media, but there are a lot of social media groups in Ballito that people are very reactive
community
to.
Groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Michelle, when we launch Durban, which Tracy's busy planning at the moment, then I will keep you in the loop,
Yeah,
Okay,
because that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good. Okay, great.
yeah,
thank you.
that's awesome.
Leonie, did you have any questions? You're on mute.
Can't hear.
They can't hear. There you are. Yeah.
Thank you, Linda. No, it's been so interesting, and I'll do my bit. I'm in Johannesburg, so I'll look up Tracy. I'll go to Caller Drive, and I'll spread the word. Thank you very
That'll
much.
be amazing. And they have a fantastic group of volunteers in Joburg as well.
Wonderful
Those
to know.
ladies
Thank you,
really,
Debbie.
really
Yeah.
have a good time. They do.
And I think
And they've got a
just
fantastic workspace. So yeah,
following
do pop in.
Vintage, signing up for your newsletter and following Vintage on Instagram are two great
Yeah.
ways to keep in touch with what's what's going on.
Yes,
And then maybe
yes.
just to share it sometimes. And
That would be amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, like if you look on our Facebook page right now, we have the event for the big sale. If all of you could share that event on your Facebook platform, I'd be so grateful.
Yeah.
Because it's another, Michelle, it's like, how do you advertise our big sale event? How?
So
We can't afford to employ a PR company, which is what we really need. I've reached out to a few, but the economy at the moment seems to be a little bit tight, so I'm not getting much joy out of that. But you need somebody who's connected in PR, who can spread the word to the radio
sure.
stations,
For
who
sure.
get us onto chats. That's a big challenge for us. Yeah, it's
Can I
difficult.
just add something to Michelle? Michelle, my sister's in Durban North. We from KZN. We've only been in Cape Town. I think this is our 4th year. And she's got a very, very large, she's been in Durban North all along. So she's got a very, very large circle of friends. Belito, Mhlanga, all over. So I tried to ask her to collect clothes for Vintage, and she said what she's finding, and I think it'll work really, really well now. When I did approach her, she said, look, they do have a friend in their book club that has got a secondhand shop, but she said people want money for their clothes. So I said to her, so now that Vintage is now offering that as an alternative, I think is really going to help KZN because they can get money for their clothes now.
Yeah.
But if Vintage do a big sale, I'll get in touch with you because I've got stacks of contacts in KZN, Belito, Durban North, and obviously I can tell them, and they must just pass the word on. So we've been KZN for the last 20 years. So KZN was quite hard in that they wanted money, which is fine. Now Vintage, now they can sell their clothes.
Yeah.
Now they can get.
Yeah, there are lots of thrift stores down here as
Absolutely.
well, which is strange, but in Johannesburg you don't have that many. You've got Vintage, but you don't have that many thrift stores. But in Belito and in Durban North, you've got quite a few thrift stores.
Yeah.
know what
We just have to push the charity side of things.
You know
Yes.
what would be quite a good, can I just say what might be quite a good thought is to motivate someone who wants support for a charity. Like there is that Anthea who runs, she's a Shine chapter, but she's independent. Anthea Rodseth, her name is, and she's in Belito or Mount Edgecombe. And if they wanted support for a charity, but they drive getting clothes, you know what I mean? Someone who's got the interest.
Somebody is connected.
Yeah, so we should keep an ear and eye out for that person who's happy to do that. Okay.
Maybe Jane was asking about the name of the charity with the teachers that are supported and mentored. What's it called?
Realema. Realema. And that is run by Pia Marburg. Incredible woman.
Okay.
It's on our, it's almost on the hour on our website.
Yeah, we're almost on the hour. So vintagewithlove.co.za, and it's been an incredible conversation. One of the reasons why I love having these conversations with our MPOs is because we have blinds on our eyes because there's so much happening in our world that it's when you listen to a conversation like this, you realize how much depth there is and what is happening and what incredible work is happening in this country. So to Lee and Jackie, who started, and Debbie for picking up that baton when Lee phoned you to say yes. And the incredible work that you've done in Cape Town. I'm very proud of you, my friend.
Thank you, Linda.
So thank you to the team for coming and supporting and for sharing with us what you do. We really love it. It's one of the ones that's very close to my heart. I have 2 bags of clothes for you, Debs. I'll get it to you soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
And thanks again, Linda,
Thanks,
for
team.
you supporting us and giving us this platform.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you.